So after high school, you joined the Army.
Volunteer for the early draft. I knew I'd be drafted, and so
Okay.
I went ahead early. Me and two of my classmates, Joe Russell and
Yeah.
Doyle Pruitt. We all three going in on the buddy system.
Yeah, yeah.
We went directly out of, got out of school in May, I believe, and went to Army in June or next month.
So did Joe Russell graduate with you? He was pretty
Joe's
good.
a good baseball player.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Tried to get him to play football and basketball, but he said he didn't, he just had too much work to do at home and stuff.
Yeah.
But Joe's a pitcher. He's a good baseball player and a good fielder. He's my good friend today.
Uh-huh.
Old Reed started 3 sports.
That's pretty impressive. It sure is. So tell me about your Army experience. Where did you go?
A country boy had only been to Loudon a few times, and that was because I played basketball for Stamey.
Yeah.
And of course, through my high school, I've been to Loudon. But you get on a bus and they take you to Knoxville, enroll, which is an experience. They put you on a train and send you to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, which is a first-time experience.
Mm-hmm.
You go in there and you hear all this stuff and see all this stuff, and that's some kind of experience. Be sure you don't leave your wallet anywhere. You better sleep with your wallet or it won't be there the next morning. Anyway, we stayed in South Carolina close to 2 weeks, I guess, and all we did was pull KP. So I reckon they was overcrowded. So what do? They put us on a train and sent us to Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Well, by that time, I'm up to here with military, pulling KP for 2 weeks down there. And the train comes right through Knoxville. And I was just about ready to jump off and say, come and get me. But anyway, I went to Fort Knox, Kentucky, and took basic training.
Okay.
And from there, I was sent to a missile outfit in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And luckily I got in headquarters company and didn't have to go out in A, B, and C companies out in the boondocks, but even where I was at in headquarters companies, just little old shacks. And that was some experience there. All I did was drive the officers here and there when they wanted to go and stuff. I'd done that for a while. And then I guess you'd say the opening come up, or they asked me if I was willing or would like to go to Germany. And I said, I just thought a while, why not? You know?
Sure.
So I went ahead and agreed to go to Germany. And here's some more expense. They put us on a troop plane. They go 4-engine troop plane. All of us loaded us up there and everything, and sat there and they fired up that plane. 3 of them engines just started off real pretty, and I'm sitting there watching to see them all. One of them wouldn't start.
Bad omen.
They cranked. Finally it started and they spark come out the end of that thing, and I thought, good gracious. And it sat there and warmed up a while, and here we go. Across the Atlantic Ocean, I thought, Made 2 stops, Newfoundland and Scotland, and then wound up in Frankfurt, Germany. Well, after Frankfurt, I was assigned to a heavy equipment. It's really not heavy equipment, it's more of a trucking, heavy trucking outfit.
Okay.
53rd Battalion in Kaiserslautern, Germany. Got on a train from Frankfurt into Kaiserslautern, Germany, and that's where I was stationed. A year and a half I was over. But while I was stationed there, we had to go in France. We hauled stuff for the the families that a lot of officers had families over there in schools, and everything. And anything that came in over there, well, we had to take them to their destinations.
Okay.
And I made a lot of trips down in France, Verdun, France, Nancy, France. And then Germany, went all over Germany, like Mannheim, Ludwigsburg, Karlsruhe, Munich, and that was just a normal routine. That's a job we had to do.
Beautiful land over there, isn't it?
You haul whatever was to be hauled, whether it be some kind of food or furniture for whatever's to be hauled, we had to haul it.
So you were right between Korea and Vietnam then,
Yeah.
your service time. So you stayed 2 years or 4 years?
Two.
2.
2 years.
So then you came back to Loudon?
Yeah.
And what happened? Where did you go to work?
I couldn't find no job.
Well, eventually you...
I had 2 brothers worked at Biscay's.
Okay.
I had uncles and aunts that worked at Biscay's. And I didn't know it at the time, but my wife worked at Biscay's too.
Okay.
But I didn't know she worked over there then. But anyway, I helped people cut tobacco all over Loudon and Monroe County, even down in Meigs County. I went down and helped cut tobacco.
Mm.
And they just wouldn't know work, no jobs. And finally, Deer Light was in Knoxville.
Okay.
And they were taking applications up to the old high school. And matter of fact, I was helping cut some tobacco over here at Peck Scriptures, and Paul Purdy's wife come over there one afternoon and said her husband was bringing a load of, well, at that time I didn't know what, was coming to Chattanooga with a load of stuff, was headed to Madison, Wisconsin. And she knew or had found out that I drove a semi when I was in the Army. And if I'd be interested to meet Paul in Chattanooga and go with him to Madison, Wisconsin, heading drive. So here I am, dirty and everything. So I said, well, yeah, I will. So I go home and cleaned up, and his wife took me to Chattanooga, and I got in that big old truck with old Powell. Of course, them trucks, they look like my military truck. That thing looked like it's wider than the road to start with. But anyway, I went to Madison, Wisconsin with Powell, took a load of chickens, and he brought a load of beef back. And while they were gone, my dad said that he got a call or something that they said, wanting to interview me for that job at Deer Light. And so I went and was interviewed by Miss Huff. Miss Rachel Huff interviewed me. They hired me, and I had to drive to Knoxville for about, I guess, 3 or 4 months or longer. And they eventually moved all the machinery and stuff down at the Hutch building there at Loudon. Mm-hmm. And I got come down there, when they got all the machines in there and everything. And that's where I worked. Girl, guess what I made an hour when I went to work?
I don't know.
$1.
$1 an hour.
$1 an hour. And I worked at Deer Light for 11 years.
Okay. And
I think I got up to close to $1.25 in 11 years. So, and it went bankrupt. They had 3 different stockholders. There's 2 Forster brothers and a last name Scanlon or something like that. They owned the company. And most of our windows and doors are made out of aluminum material. Mm-hmm. And for some reason they stopped. They didn't want to pay for the materials we got in. Mm. And that went on for a while, and then we started getting bad material in. And you make a die for a certain way, and then aluminum is can move a little bit. And we had a lot of trouble with their material, and I think that was probably because they wasn't paying their bills like they should.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't going good there for a while, and then they started building trailers.
Okay.
And that went pretty good for a little while, and then they started getting trailers back as fast as they shipped them out.
Mm-hmm.
And things just got worse, and they went bankrupt.
Okay.
And this time they're building Marymount out there, building that company out there. And in 1969, they started hiring people. And of course I put in for that out there, but they told me that, hey, people there at Deer Light says, if we ever succeed, you got your job here if you want to come back. I told them I've got an application, I was going to apply for that job, and did, and got hired. And worked there 34 years.
Okay.
And that's about the story of it. It's pretty tough.
So you were one of the first.
I got married in 1959.
Okay.
And Rachel, I married her, and she was working at Biscay's, and she made more money than I did at the time. I thought, well, she's got to have a little bit of money.
Yeah.
So we got married, and come to find out she bought her a brand new bedroom suit and made one payment.
The people at Biscay's, though, I mean, you thought of those people making money, though.
They made a lot more than I made at Deer Light, that's for sure. Yeah.
Especially when you think of where Loudon folks worked. We had at that time, the chair factory and the mill.
Hand factory.
Yeah.
Chair factory, hand factory, and the mill. And
farmers.
Yeah.
How about your rent? What
of course,
you pay?
Bacon Creamery worked there. They had
Yeah.
a few for a while, and then it got bought out down in
Mayfield.
Athens, Mayfield.
About your rent, what you Rachel paid, what Carl Fay wanted you to do.
Do what?
Your rent, what you paid, where you live, and then the clinic as interested.
We lived 3 years up over at Loudon Pharmacy and Edmore's Cafe upstairs. Yeah. Miss McMurray lived up there. One of my teachers lived up there in the other place. That's where Mr. Watson, Rufus Watson worked, and Sarge Harrison worked for him. What was Mr. Gray? R.M. Gray.
Okay.
Had an insurance office up there, and they just across the hall from us. They were so good to us.
Mm-hmm.
And me and Rachel had to pay $25 a month for rent.
Was that a pretty good price at that time?
That was a great price. Well, they had built a clinic out there, Dr. Slam and those built that new clinic there, and I think it was built, in the mid-50s or something like that.
Yeah.
And Carl Fay, my brother and his wife, they got an apartment out there. And they's paying $150 a month.
Oh, wow.
No, $50 a month.
Okay.
They tried their best to get us to come out there.
Yeah.
And I thought, $25 more? That's heat and water too.
Wow, that was a good deal.
And, electricity, Mr. Gray over there across they basically paid our light bill, I guess. We did. But anyway, it went that way for 3 years we lived out there. And my brother-in-law married my oldest sister, Annie, as they built this house in 58. They was finishing this house up when I got out of the Army in 58. And he come down to the apartment one day, won't know if me and Rachel's interested in renting his house. He's a preacher, and he'd go from place to place. No, I can't afford to rent your house. I'm paying $25 a month in that big old house out there.
Yeah.
Well, would you be interested in buying it? Well, that's interesting. I said, yeah, let me think about it. So I thought about it, and me and Rachel talked about it. Scary boy to make a move like that. So I decided what I'd give him, and he took the offer. And that's what we did.